All right, apologies for a slight delay. Here at another live Giardi Monday. Mike Giardi, by the way, will have to leave us soon and call his doctor because he will have hit the 4-hour mark since he anointed Drake Maye, the MVP.
I said he was making a good case for it.
Okay.
I also said, if you read the beginning of it, it was way too early, and I wasn't all that comfortable even writing it. But all you people are talking about it, so you're all in my mentions. You're all about this and that. And I was like, you know what? I'll give them some red meat. I'll give them what they want.
Not just in your mentions, but in both of our phones, where we got a text from an unnamed Patriots beat reporter known for his kindness and good work. Just not even twisting the knife, but kind of like pulling at your ear a little bit. Anyway, we have a lot to get to in what was a pretty straightforward, simple game. Patriots are better than the Titans by a lot. They won by a lot, 31-13. This, of course, part of the Pats Interference podcast on the obsessive, obstreperous, online, on the spot, always on the job, CLNS Media Network. I want to thank the folks who have reached out since my last episode when I announced I'll be taking a break soon because we are welcoming our first child. I have not gotten back to everyone. So if you're waiting, I might be a jerk, but it's not because of this. And I will get back to you soon. It also made me think, Mike, I'd like to do, once baby girl does arrive, 2 to 3 minutes on Mondays of Dad Pod, which I know Simmons, of course, has carved out Parent Corner. This is not that. This is just Dad Pod and like immediate infancy, which you've not dealt with an infant, what was like 18 years ago?
Many moons ago, yes.
Okay, so we can just do embarrassing stories of me getting peed on in the middle of the night and kind of go from there, and you give me advice or make fun of me, and we just do Dad Pod as much as we do Patriots. Because last week I said I was almost getting bored of how good Drake Maye has been, particularly against bad teams. And then he goes out and sets a franchise record, as everyone knows by now, for completion percentage in games where at least a quarterback throws 20 passes. Tom Brady was here for 20 years. He played 333 games and never did that once. It took Drake Maye 19 starts to do that Sunday.
Well, in Tom Brady's defense, his legs didn't really work all that well. So he didn't run away from pressure. He just threw it away. He took the easy, you know what? We're putting that ball in the stands and we're living to play another day. Drake is using the legs maybe a little bit too much, and therefore, 31 dropbacks, but only 23 actual attempts.
Yes. We, of course, are going to talk about how good Drake Maye is. And then what you missed on offense and defense, as we do every Monday here on the live show, plus mailbag questions at the end, and some studs. And what was the last one? Oh.
What do you think the last one?
I've forgotten the name of the segment. Okay, let me have it. Where that might be your moment where you have to tell me what you hated.
Are you sure you didn't have the baby already yet?
No, I don't know. This is bad. This is just one sip. But by the way, shout out to Notch in this wonderful Vienna style lager brewery out of Salem that's got a beer garden. Remember that word here in the city, and had a great time there. Picked up a 4-pack. Shout out to Notch. What are you drinking?
I am once again drinking the Trillium Party Pump, which is a nice ale. Last one of the season.
Very good. Okay. I don't want to start with Drake Maye, though. I want to start with a simple question. How good are the Patriots?
I'm going to give you a really short and complicated answer. I don't know. And I'll elaborate, but again, quickly. What they're doing is what you want to do when you're in that middle pack and you're trying to rise up to the top. You have to beat the teams that are in front of you. And we looked at the schedule and talked ad nauseum about it. I'm like, I like to see the guys get on the field first. But then they got on the field, and the teams that were supposed to be bad when we got the schedule out and whatever it was, April, May, turns out they're bad here in September and October. And the Patriots, who we weren't sure about but thought they were at least on the upswing, have taken care of business against those teams. The only one that you look back on, obviously, is the opener against Vegas. And Vegas has since really been kind of a mess. But by and large, they're beating the teams in front of them that they should beat. And that's why you're sitting at 5-2. I don't know what the ceiling is. I just know they're doing what they need to do right now.
That's fair. I would say they're doing even more than that. They're 5-2, right? Like by the record, win-loss, the one thing that everybody counts. It matters and cares about. They're 5-2 as well against the spread. So even as we adjust our expectations and use new data to frame our expectations for these Patriots and how good they might be relative to their opponents, they're outperforming those expectations. It happened in Tennessee where they were touchdown favorites, won by 18. It happened in Buffalo where, of course, they were underdogs and beat the Bills. They even covered against the Saints when last week in talking with a bunch of dudes in the locker room, like I was like, hey, why did Vrabel tell you guys like enjoy the win? Isn't that obvious? You won 4 games now. You won 4 each of the last 2 years, and they were disappointed how poorly they thought they had played. All of which is to say, their expectations are higher. My expectations are higher, and they're backed up by some numbers. Starting in week 3, a game people will not forget. Pittsburgh, not allowed to forget on this podcast. Huh. I would love to just where they committed 5 turnovers. Okay, starting in this five-week sample, they're 8th by DVOA. Include the whole season, they are 8th in offense and 7th in defense by EPA. So when you're a top 10 team on both sides of the ball, all due respect, Jeremy Springer and the special teams, I don't know what else to call you but a legit good team. Soft schedule included.
I mean, it's totally fair. Like, I'm not going to – I can use it. I feel I have to say it about the schedule, but, like, you're winning the games. If they lost these games, you're like, oh, well, like they're still not there yet. They're still trying to form an identity. They're still trying to figure out how to do this thing, and they're doing it. So you're right. I'm giving them credit for it. I don't want to make it seem like I'm not giving them credit for it. I just – when you look ahead, too, based on every metric, it's the easiest schedule in the National Football League going forward. There's a game against Atlanta, which we think could be tough, although Atlanta tends not to play well on the road. Going to Tampa, although Tampa's weakness is their pass defense, and you're very good at throwing the football. So, there's some things built into that. But, like, by and large, there's a lot of winnable football games on there. And if they continue to take care of the football, do some of the little things that they're doing, then there's no reason why they can't be in the mix at the end and whatever you're talking about. I know you've already booked Super Bowl tickets to San Francisco. I haven't gone there yet, but like, that's whatever. They're knocking them down as they get them in front of them.
So this is a DVOA friendly podcast, cited all the time. Mm-hmm. Aaron Schatz would be the rabbi of the Pats Interference podcast if we had one. He's been on the show. And I bring that up to say because when you look at DVOA as a whole on the season, Patriots actually went from 19th to 20th overall, despite beating the Titans by 18, which is why I cited the 5 most recent games when they were 8th by DVOA, because I just think those are more telling. Like, I always call the opener most anticipated, least telling game on the schedule. It just so happens that was the Patriots' worst loss of the year. So you take that out of the equation, they're a top 10 team. DVOA, though, I will note, still dings them as a bottom 5 defense. Still has their special teams middle of the pack, and the offense is good. So there are numbers that are not all saying, hey, this is a legit good team, because DVOA, unlike EPA, takes into context your strength of schedule and your opponent, not just the situation-based stuff. Just based on the situation, they're a top 10 team. I think they're still probably top 12, if you want to be nice, but like firmly in there. This is not a team that you're like, they're probably average based on how they're playing now, which makes this interesting because they passed the test of the letdown of going in and having an upset. And now they are just bathing in praise, right? Like they could park all of them, all of the players, all of the coaches, and just be carried into the building if they wanted to by everyone who lives nearby in Foxborough, because the Patriots are back. And that means so much to this region. What happens next, though, when you handle that is going to be really interesting, because there's not anyone nationally or locally that's saying like, I don't know now. Like, Maye's legit, so is this team.
Well, I'm still saying I'm not totally sure. I mean, I guess I need to see. And again, the schedule is going to dictate that they're not going to have these games until they're playing in January. If they're playing in January, playing a playoff game, but like, I still think they're an off season away from being the team that they want to be. And I don't know if that rears its head in the final 10 regular season games of the year. If there are depth issues in certain spots comes to hurt them at some point. I don't know. But again, 5-2 is 5-2. You can't do anything. And you got Cleveland coming to town, which I think will be a good test, because Cleveland's defense is good and they actually won a game last week. So, even though once again their offense was more innocent bystander than actual participant in the victory, that they're still playing for something. They're still showing you they have life.
Well, and we know that like the stinker is coming. You know, it could be the Browns, it could be Atlanta, it could be Tampa, it could be the Jets. I mean, fingers crossed, God. Like every team lays an egg at some point in the season,
Yeah.
right? Like that's going to happen. But I feel now with this 7-game sample and especially the last 5 weeks, when it does, I can look at that egg and be like, meh. Because again, it's not just that you're winning the games, it's that you are covering the spread. You are winning more by more than anyone expects. 5-2 against the spread is the best mark in the NFL. It's them and the Colts right now against the spread. And so historically, like great teams, yeah, they beat other good teams. But what they do is beat the crap out of bad ones. And that's what they're doing. Even if that's the only thing they can do based on the schedule, it matters to me, especially the more that they do it.
I mean, Vegas, though, had them favored, going into the year in 11 games or 12 games. Like, if Vegas looked at the schedule and looked at what they had done and said, all right, well.
But then why was there over under 8.5?
Because they try to get you, they try to get your money. That's the whole, as you well know, Vegas wins a lot more than they lose, and they want to play into your emotions as a fan, etc.
I don't know that personally.
No,
you got some receipts that would show that.
I have a text chain, a long, lengthy text chain that would indicate some of that before I delete it, as always.
Yes. Can we revisit that for a second? Folks know that you just delete texts like you are cheating on your wife with like 7 different people and just don't want to take any risks of getting caught.
No, it's just, I'm like
Why?
the guy
it's so weird.
I can't have the unread emails. Like you people that have like 2,000 unread emails. Like if I happen to be on a device and there's an emails that have not been read, I am going through them. I don't need that. Delete. It's got to be gone. The thing's got to be clean. That's, I guess, part of my OCD. So same thing with the text. Like I like there's like I have text open with both children, a family text, my brother. Like that's pretty much it. Everybody else is just like,
You delete all the. Well, look, when you say OCD, my poking fun stops here. If that's really,
I don't know. It's something.
No one else in my life deletes all of their texts like they are under investigation for deflating footballs or not.
I just don't like to look at the thing, and then there's just a whole list of things. It's like, and then every once in a while, if I'm really busy and it gets backlogged, then I'm like freaking out, and then I forget somebody. And then someone's like, hey, Andy Hart every once in a while will text me like, hey, we were still good for Friday, guest spot on Friday, right? And every once in a while, I forget to respond. And it's just because people have been texting me and it just gets pushed down the list. That's why you got to delete them. I saw it, done, gone.
The other side of that is when someone texts you who has not responded in a long, long time, might have been someone within the league. This happened to me yesterday. And they're like, oh, by the way, thanks. This was nice. I don't have to get back to them because when I scroll, there's only blue going up and up, which is to say it happens with sources or people that they don't get back and understand how it goes. But at some point, I'm like, well, this is not useful. And then that person reaches out and they go, no, thanks. I've got enough self-respect just to hang in. But you might have forgotten that had happened.
No, on those things, in particular with people around the league, Mikey, don't forget. I keep receipts always.
Okay. People might forget this game were it not for the Mike Vrabel revenge storyline, which was awesome, by the way. He denied it throughout the week. You heard the chants of his name afterward. You had all the players very predictably say, oh, yeah, we had extra juice. We wanted to get this for him. Mike Vrabel has buy-in at a way that you have not seen from a Patriots head coach since peak Bill Belichick. That is a huge reason, before we get to May, that the Patriots are 5-2. Here's the other reasons they're 5-2, just based on Sunday. Critical areas, we cover these every week. Turnovers. 0. Patriots had 0 turnovers. Titans had 2. Explosive play rate. All these X plays you hear from Mike all the time, blah, 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 blah. Patriots, 9.4% of their offensive plays were explosive. Titans, 3.9%. Success rate. This was close. 46.5 for the Pats, 42 for the Titans. Red zone efficiency. Patriots, 2 of 3. Titans, 0. Didn't get in there. And defensive pressure rate. This was almost identical the way I had it, which is probably different from you and PFF, as we always say. 35.8 for the Patriots, 35.9 for the Titans. A lot of it was kind of like, soft. I don't really know what to do with this. Iffy pressure. I think we know why they won. They're more talented. They're better. They screwed up less. All the stuff I just said. But Drake Maye, again, completing 91.7% of his passes. How do you explain that?
It's Drake's world. We're just living in it, right? I mean, it's the progression, and we keep talking about it every week. and he keeps searching for words to sort of describe it. The grasp of the mental stuff that I think has been more important than anything. The way he's grown, the way he's, again, not repeating the mistakes. The turnover thing is like we were wondering just a few weeks ago. Pittsburgh, is this who he is? Is he as someone coined on the radio, two-a-day May? Like, is that who he's going to be? Because that's what he was as a rookie, you know. And again, you can look at the surrounding things, but like at the end of the day, crappy O-line, crappy receivers, bad coaching, all that stuff. He was still doing it twice a game, and it started in the beginning of the year. And you're like, really, this is going to be the kind of guy he is? Gone, taking care of the football. I mean, think about the throws yesterday and say to yourself, were any of those balls in jeopardy of being intercepted?
No.
The one wobbly throw, thanks to Will Campbell getting backed up into his face. And even then, there was like, I'm nitpicking. That was close, but not that close. Like, even if the guy laid out, he wasn't going to get it. So that wasn't something we were seeing early on. We're seeing it now. Like, even the Carolina game, he starts that game off, right? He nearly throws the interception on the first play of the game. Pretty much since then, clean sheet.
Really good. The accuracy is not just, well, I get to stand in the pocket and like hang around. Again, he was pressured on 36% of his dropbacks. This is on the move. It's off platform. It's going left. It's going right, stepping up in the pocket. And then when he's completing the ball, it's everywhere across the field. You had 11 completions within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. You had 5 completions, 10 to 19, and you had 2 deep, left to right, 5 to his left, 11 in the middle, 5 more to the right. Like this is a bad defense. Granted, all of that, Jeffrey Simmons leaves and that changes everything, though. Most of their rushing success actually came with Jeffrey Simmons on the field. We'll get to the running game later. But for Maye, it's just, he's just doing everything well. Like you want to take away the deep balls. A lot of these teams have done. Hey, we'll play too high structure and they're not good running the ball and we'll win with that. He goes, fine, I'll pick you apart underneath. And then you have teams like the Saints who gave him a window and some shots. Like
Right.
the rocket launcher's back out. And it's a pick your poison proposition that within, again, 19 starts, he's already kind of foisted on teams. And again, granted, bad teams. But like you do this long enough and you develop this quickly. Just the mental piece is such a great point because he's just processing in a way that's faster and developing and growing faster than any quarterback, frankly, I've ever seen at this stage of his career.
It's all excellent points. And I'll go back to the mental thing for a second. And, you know, this debate that's elsewhere about, is it Vrabel? Is it McDaniels? Who deserves more credit? They're both in his ear, but Josh is the one who spends the most time with him. And like, this isn't a credit pie thing, but like, I think in the first game, we saw someone who had a lot of things shoved into his brain from April until the first game, right? About all these different things. Protect yourself when you run, protect them on the pocket, this, take the easy completion, all these different things. And he was a little robotic in that game. Then in the next week, he was not robotic at all. And he hasn't been robotic since. And it's like, they've reached him, but his brain is also processing it now, and it's slowing it down. It's. I don't know if you said this last time. It's the Matrix, right? The bullets are coming at him, and he just sticks up his hand.
Oh no, that's good though. That's good.
They stop and they fall away. That's what's happening right now for him. It feels like the game is so much slower, and even when it's not, at the beginning of the game against Tennessee, I thought he was a little bit. He wasn't seeing it great, but he found a way to settle himself down. And once he settled himself down, forget about it. Tennessee should have just gone home. Like, you know, we're calling it a day. See you later, fellas.
Here was something new the Patriots put on his plate. He was in empty 7 times by my charting. None of these were the big explosive plays. None of these are like the reason they won the game. It's just like a small little note because as we talk about the processing and different things that he's trying, like they're not giving him the entire offense, but there are wildly different things week to week. Why they went empty, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But here's what happened. Completion for 4 yards, both the dig. Scramble for 9. Completion for 1 and a penalty that the Titans declined. 5-yard completion, 3-yard scramble, 8-yard completion. And so the success rate there is just below 50, whatever. But I like that they're at least trying it because that is a lot of the Josh stuff. We even saw Haswai Juke, everyone's favorite pass player, the one that they know, right? And, you know, the Shanahan stuff that got him going against Miami, and I think there's got to be such a blend of all of these styles and systems. And I don't even really care about the push-pull dynamic of the offense, what their identity is, because they have proven faster than I expected. Even though you have to major in some stuff, you can't do everything. But they can do enough because of him and his talent that you can morph week to week and have different identities. And again, these numbers do not blow you away. None of those plays were longer than 9 yards, and only 2 of them were longer than 5. But it's something new. And with more reps, he'll get better.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. I'm sure we're going to dig into this, but like, because of the too high shell stuff that the Titans are running, the Patriots ran the ball. But your point too, like, just pick them out. Fine, we'll just do this. Well, I'll nickel and dime you to death. And I'm so accurate. I'm going to put the ball on the spot, and we're not going to blow these plays. I'm not going to blow the gimmies, the bunnies that occasionally he blew last year, right? Like, no, that thing is locked down, consistent. And then the one time where he damn near blows the bunny, Pop Douglas makes a ridiculous one-handed catch on 4th down. I mean, the ball just stuck to his hand. That was absurd. But like, that's the kind of stuff where if you're a defense and you go into this thing, go, okay, well, they're running it on us now. So now we got to step up a little bit. Oh, now he's over the top of us. And now he's picking us apart. Like, he's putting the ball wherever he freaking wants. Like, that's another thing. Like, the ball that he dropped in the bucket to Stephon Diggs on the drive that did not end in a score, the 18-yarder down the sidelines where Steph converted the route, little fade. And Steph was like beautiful veteran receiver, late hands. So defensive back had no idea that the ball was coming, but like literally could have walked it over, and he couldn't have done it any better than to just place it in his hands. Drake Maye, like the throw to Mac Hollins on the sidelines, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's the kind of stuff that makes you right. There's a reason why we're talking about him being an MVP candidate, and here's why.
Let us know when those 4 hours hit, by the way, so you can go call your dog. I'm glad you brought up the Mac Hollins catch, because that was my favorite of this game. And it was super simple, but picture perfect quarterback play all in a moment. He recognizes the defense. I would think it was cover 6 off the top of my head, which means there's going to be a whole shot to the right sideline. There's Mac Hollins all alone. Maye takes a snap, stares at the near safety just to keep him close to the middle often enough, and then veers right and just drops his dime. Where I tweeted the screenshot below the clip. When he releases the ball, Mac Hollins is actually a half step behind that corner who's drifting back because there's no threat to the flat. So he's like, all right, I'll just carry whatever route this is. But Mac Hollins is going a little bit faster. He's a little bit bigger. And so he gets there. But the window was smaller than you would think. Maye did not care. This was the drop it in the bucket drill at the end of practice or start of practice, where you're effing around with the other quarterbacks, and Josh Dobbs and Brady did this with Jimmy G and anyone who's come through New England. And he puts it right there. And you're just going, okay, every coverage has a weakness, but come on, you can't exploit them all. Oh, no. Yes, he can.
I just remember, like, at one point, I don't know whether it was sometime this summer, and just talking to people around the league, and they're like, the thing about him is that his arm gives you access to every quotient of the field, whatever, every corner. Like, you can, we talk about defending every blade of grass, right? Horizontal, vertical. Like, he can hit you anywhere. And now he's doing it with this increased level of accuracy that makes it even more difficult. Like, before he might throw that, but he might not throw it close enough to the receiver, or he might throw it and it bleeds a little bit towards the middle of the field, and the defensive back is able to get over there and get a finger on it. Now it's no. I'm putting the ball where only my guy can get it. And that's just speaks to the overall growth and the level of play right now through the last 5 weeks.
So he has the touchdown to Kayshon Boutte just before halftime. And the throw to Austin Hooper is a better catch than a better throw. And Stephon Diggs' motion kind of affected things. And I don't know if they knew that the Titans were in this banjo coverage, but like, they broke it. They had a rule breaking concept and it worked out well. And L'Jarius Sneed was like out to lunch for half of this game.
Oh my God.
But the Boutte play was just another outstanding catch and another deep shot between those two. And the chemistry they have, where like, he's not going to get as many targets or have as many catches as Stephon Diggs will. But he's going to make more out of those catches than not only every other receiver on the roster, but most receivers in the league. Full extension, outstretched grab, pulls it in, and he had blown by Sneed. I don't remember the safety, but they were in quarters, and he just outright said it after the game. He was like, it was kind of lazy play.
Yeah.
And it was just the tempo. I know where I'm going from him and Boutte and Maye. Just all that coming together was just, okay, it was one of two deep passes that he threw all game. That was it. And to convert like that in that spot against that coverage, the two of them, like obviously you have to take Maye seriously now, but a quarterback to some extent in certain times is only as good as his weapons. And Booty has emerged in a way that says, like, yeah, Drake's a threat to run. He's a threat to do this and that, but like he can also go deep to a receiver that you have to respect now. Otherwise, just like the last 2 weeks, he'll be behind you.
Someone had a note. He reached over 20 miles an hour. Like, for the whatever the next gen sets. He's not a burner, but there is one thing that I've noticed about him too, that when the ball is in the air and he has that opportunity, there is a little bit more. He finds a little bit more there. He just doesn't look as explosive. And I mean, he's in theory he's not, but like to find that little extra place when the ball's in the air is the kind of stuff that when you're a quarterback, you go, man, every time I think I've overthrown him, or every time I think he makes a play. I mean, that was a phenomenal, catching the back third of the ball basically as well. Like just beautiful stuff between those two guys, and we've seen a lot of it this year.
Now, there's one thing about Drake I got to say though that I'm a little concerned about. One thing, and I think you know where I'm going, but I'm going to make you wait anyway because we have to talk about the folks at PrizePicks. PrizePicks has supported this podcast forever. You and I feel like, have been playing PrizePicks close to forever. And there's a reason for that. Among all the places that want your money and your attention as you watch sports to play with your money, PrizePicks is the simplest and best place because it's just you against the numbers. You pick the players you want. You pick the stats you want. It could be Monday Night Football, which is going on right now, but you don't have to tune in. It could be the NBA starting on Tuesday. And you build a lineup of 2 to 6 players. Again, you pick the stats, you pick the player, whatever you want. Put in 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And then you go more or less. Whatever that number is. It could be yards. It could be touchdowns. It could be points. It could be assists. It could be rebounds. It's all up to you, but only at PrizePicks. And here's the deal. Because the NBA is starting on Tuesday, they're going to give you basically a free square. So you just have to get one player and one stat and then go more or less and be right. And boom, you turn your sports knowledge or takes or insights or whatever, just dumb luck, into real money because that one square is Steph Curry to score 2 points or more. That's it. If he scores more than 1 point or half a point, I don't even know exactly what it is. I just know I'm going to do this tomorrow night on my own in my free time, and you should too, but only at PrizePicks. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50, 50, in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Okay. The one thing that if I am Ashton Grant or I'm Josh McDaniels, I'm like, okay, we gotta cut this out. He scrambled on 62.5% of his snaps when he was pressured, and that led to just 19 yards. And there's always a risk-reward dynamic and opportunity cost, all this stuff to be taken in a split second, stuff that I could not do that he's only doing. But he took so many hits that I'm at home, still childless, which is going to change soon, but like, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it, throw it. And you obviously have that hit in the third quarter, slams his head, leaves for a little bit, gets cleared, comes back. I asked Vrabel today. No protocol since. If Maye is upright, they're going to have a chance against every team in the league. And I do not say that lightly. Every team in the league, the way he is playing right now, the Patriots have a shot to win. I do not care who is on the other sideline. But if he's hurt, wild card goodbye, division hopes goodbye, all the good vibes go goodbye. And that's the thing. Just take a couple of scrambles, of which when he wasn't pressured, gained a lot of yards, fueled a lot of long scoring drives. You want to keep that. But when he's pressured and that danger is imminent, just get rid of it. It's all I want to see from this game into the next.
Yeah, and there are a couple of those moments where it wasn't initial pressure, like instant, and he had throws and he didn't make them. And like you can see his head he's looking in that direction, but he clearly was hoping for something more. And then maybe the eyes go down a little bit. You see some bodies around you, and then you're tucking, you're getting out of there. Yeah, there were multiple. It was actually funny. Like we were talking about the rewatch, and it was kind of like a boring rewatch, right? Because you're just better than them, and you're like, I saw this play out. I texted you the morning of. I was like, I got to tell you, I'm not all excited to watch the Titans because I watched 2 games of them before just to prep, and I was like, they're not good. It's not. This shouldn't be a problem. But that was one of the things that stood out to me. There were a couple of hits that he took in the game that I kind of brushed off. Then when you went back and watched them again, I was like, that was a pretty good shot he took there. He's exposing himself, and it's more than just the head, which is obviously of chief concern because he's had a couple of these already. But then the shoulder, the elbow, that like the hand. These are all things that are very important to playing quarterback that you want to protect. And you obviously can't protect it all the time. You're not going to come out of every game clean with no bumps and no bruises. That's just not the way the game works. But can you minimize your risk? And that's got to be what they're telling him. And I'm curious to see what this looks like on Sunday because they're facing a very good defense with a very good pass rush. But I wonder if the message is going to be, hey, look, man, throw the ball in the third row of the stands. Save it for a third down when you feel like, hey, we got to have this. We need this to keep the chains moving. But otherwise, let's protect ourselves. We don't need to get the extra yard every single time.
Yeah. And against a good run defense, by the way, in Cleveland. So, which means, they're a good defense. Their pass defense is an elite. Myles Garrett, everyone's aware. But it's going to foist the game on Maye, put it in his lap. And in some instances, he's compelled because he's that good and talented, as we all just detailed for like 15 minutes, to go, I'll put on the cape, come out the booth, here we go. But when you also have a defense that you can now increasingly lean on, 8th best by EPA, don't ask the DVOA folks. They would tell you that's 20 spots too high. Just trust them to handle Dylan Gabriel on Sunday. But we'll get to
I might agree with more with the DVOA guys than the EPA guys. On this
I would agree. This is not a top 10 defense right now. Again, opponent adjusted, situation adjusted. Sure. That's what we go with the DVOA. Now, it's not to say the Patriots should give up on the run game against Cleveland because they very much found something. And here was the game plan. Run the damn ball. Okay, which is easy when you go and play a bottom 6 run defense, which was Tennessee before the game, and they're playing some 2 high structures, which some people were in my mentions about, and I'm like rewatching. I go, they spun late, like it was a loaded box often enough. It wasn't just we're good, we'll stay back deep. Patriots had a lot of success running 2 ways. Number 1 was inside zone, okay, and there was a little bit of duo in there, but mostly inside zone, and they ran from 11 personnel, meaning 3 receivers, 1 running back, and 1 tight end. And I was just sitting there rewatching today going, hallelujah, because I know like a lot of offenses right now, it's cool. It's popular to like play with your 2 tight ends. And we don't have to do like the tired Gronk Hernandez thing anymore because no one is confusing Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry with those 2. But when the Patriots bulk up like that and try to run the ball, defenses bulk up and go, cool, we're fine. And they had a 28% success rate rushing from 2 tight end sets in New Orleans, and it wasn't much better when they had 2 backs. So a fullback with Jack Westover, we had 2 running backs on the field. So when they run from this more spread personnel, but one of those receivers is Matt Collins, who's 6'4" and 221, and you put him where Austin Hooper would be, but instead of another linebacker across from you, it is a safety or a corner who Matt Collins can pick up like a little child and then drop wherever he wants, as he almost did a couple of times. That's an advantage. And it's an advantage because from their 10 runs in this personnel grouping, 6.6 yards per carry, only 1 run that went for less than 4 yards, and 0 run stuffs. This was their first 3 plays of the game when it went 8 yards, 14 yards, 8 yards. And I hope they continue with this, not just because they had a 55% success rate from 11 personnel, their best of the game. And they ran it 2/3 of the time. I think this is their best grouping, almost regardless of whatever they want to do.
I'm glad you brought up, I knew you were going to. I'm glad you brought up Hollins because to me, that was, he's obviously made contributions over the course of the previous 6 games to varying degrees. I thought that was his best game by far. Yeah. I thought he was, he's always physical, but I thought he was successful with his physicality on a higher level in the run game in particular. And then obviously making a couple big catches, one of which was an incredibly easy pitch and catch that went for 27 yards. But in general, like that sort of mentality and physicality is stuff that guys look around and go, you see it on tape, you see it during the game, you see it on tape and go, oh, we ran the ball better. Mike's been talking about everybody's got to be involved. Everybody's got to do this. Well, Hollins is out there doing it. Why can't I give a little bit more? Why can't I get a little bit better of a block here? Why can't I hang on for just another half a second? And maybe the half second is the difference between a 4 and 8 yard run, an 8 and a 16, etc. And there was some of that in this game, which was critical. I think Mike's been basically begging for it. I think Josh has been begging for it for all guys, all 11 to be involved. And there was more of that in this game and more success because of it.
Yeah, and part of it is just personnel, right? Like, would you rather have Matt Collins on the field, or all due respect to current nervous Mariners fan watching Game 7 of the ALCS, Jack Westover.
Yeah.
If your answer is not Matt Collins, I don't know what football you're watching. And there is some still value, even if you're banging your head against the wall, as I brought up last week with Mego. In this case, it's not outside zone, which I said, look, if your play action stuff is built off of outside zone runs, you still have to run the actual run before you boot and fake off of it. Though they're 21 personnel with the fullback. They had 4 runs right off the bat. None of them were good. But the 5th time they ran 21 personnel with a fullback was that play you just mentioned, where Matt Collins, and I swear he did this, so he didn't get back to me in time on Twitter, our pal, Mike Hurley, who does the no humans defense. Like, he had a half-mile radius of just no one around him.
Absurd. I rewound it about 4 different times. I was like,
yeah,
what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. So it's worth it, because then the payoff, like, look, you could be like, oh, it's only 20% success rate. And I say this as someone who often goes, oh, it's only 26% success rate. The payoff is so big on that 5th play, it's worth it. Otherwise, just because of the nature of Tennessee's defense, they play a lot of cover 3 and they play some quarters, and like it's more than half of their passing snaps. Like, it was just a lot of traditional zone beaters and a little bit more empty, which we covered, but standard stuff. And Maye worked it. He was not fooled. He completed every pass, actually, against zone coverage. So as far as like what their plan was, it was run the ball, but do it from lighter personnel groupings. Matt Collins, flex on him a little bit, and we'll be good. And they were.
Yeah, good stuff in general. We haven't mentioned to this point, but it's sort of a continuation of a theme that I think whenever Drake really wants something, needs something, he can find Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Like, very like quiet, 7 catches, 69 yards, right? But 7 targets, 7 catches. Like, just, okay, fine. I'll throw it to Steph. Yep, he'll make the play. Like, I did mention him on the fade route, but like just in general, like, that's just another thing they have in their bag that we weren't really sure of when the summer was rolling down and he was kind of quiet. You're like, what are they really going to get from Diggs? They're getting good play.
If we made an easy button reference, what percentage of the audience right now do you think would get that? Like, would Drake Maye even get that?
I don't think he would.
Right? He's 23. Like, there's definitely a cutoff, probably like 27 and older. If you remember that Staples commercial.
I still have that button somewhere.
You do?
I do.
When was the last time you hit it?
Oh, probably like 5 years ago. Somewhere. It's collecting dust in some area of the house. My son maybe took it. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, anyway, Stephon Diggs is Drake Maye's easy button.
Yep.
And again, I've said this for weeks. Opponents are going to catch on, and smart ones, high leverage situations. You got to give a little help to Stephon Diggs because, in this instance, it was a 3rd down. He got 7 yards. I think it was 3rd and 8 in the second half.
Yep.
But they're motioning away from him to give this backside slant. All these teams run it, different formations and setups and whatever. But the point was, we want that guy alone, work his magic, and he came up a yard short. But Maye is going to go there. That's where he wants. He has the trust, and obviously Diggs, who also had a couple of really nice blocks, digging out safeties there. Like, he talks about being bought in. That stuff tells you he's being completely honest. So, yeah, great game from him.
Yeah, and I mentioned last week, I had him with 2-run stuffs where he was just like, come on, man. And so, like, all right, bud, like, we're talking about it. You're talking about it. Now do it. Show me. And he did.
Yeah. Speaking of run stuffs, I had the Patriots down for 4 as a team, which you do this. It's like, all right, everyone kind of screwed up a little bit here and there. Didn't get enough push, whatever. Credit to the defense. And then 1 for Will Campbell, who also, by my count, allowed 3 pressures. And there's a little bit of a debate if you put the last sack on him or the stunt that him and Jared Wilson filled to pass off. Either way, he had 3. I had Mike Onwenu for 3. Jared Wilson gave up 2 sacks. Other than that, though, Garrett Bradbury, who might just soon more a full column in the Boston Herald, because this dude has been awesome through 7 games. And Morgan Moses had clean sheets plus just a crunching run block, which I tweeted and then missed like 2 plays during the game live because I was just like, oh my God, it would be wanted posters when he's walking out of the locker room. Do you want to start with the good or the bad here?
Well, I was just looking at like what did we miss? And I wrote the first thing on my list was Morgan Moses clean sheet. Like, I thought he just played a really good football game. There was one play he pulled and it was 33, I think. He got number 33. He was a linebacker, but he just
it's the one I tweeted
on the ground, and then he just kind of like, he didn't talk crap, but he's kind of gave him like a look like, you don't probably want to do that again, son. You might want to step out of the way or fall down or do something, ooh, my hamstring, I pulled it, like that kind of thing. So I just, we know that he's a good pro. He's a placeholder. Not to the level that maybe Bradbury is, because you drafted Wilson with the idea that probably Wilson's going to be the center. Bradbury's on a 1-year deal.
I mean, not if he's going to keep playing like this.
No, absolutely.
I mean, and it's a 2-year technical deal, but the 1 year like really guaranteed. They're not
right. And Morgan's deal is super like 3 years, but 2 and all those things. But like he's had some moments like anybody does, like they're all going to have at some point. But like it's been solid. And if he can stay healthy, which is a big thing for him, and it's been a sort of a problem for him the last couple of years, and he's 34, but he's playing at a good level, and he's giving them, and he and Nwenu at times, like there seems to be a little connectivity between the two of them now, where it happened last week where they had a double, and Nwenu went to the second level and made a block, and then they stopped and they looked at each other and was like, high five. And there was another one of those moments in this game, and it was like they're just, like we're big boys. We can move some people. Don't be afraid to come our way. And they're doing it a little bit more, and they're having some success. So yeah, I thought really good game from him.
That reminds me that last week in the locker room, this was maybe Thursday. You walk in, do a lap, see who's around, you want to talk to, blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, you're kind of waiting. And, you chat with some guys. Like, it's not all just, hey, do you have a second? Let me talk to you for these questions and get these quotes. Like, you want to know these guys. You want to talk to them. So Mike Onwenu comes in from one side where the showers are and walks across. And Morgan Moses is talking with, I think, Caden Wallace, maybe somebody else. And Mike Onwenu's locker is at the opposite end. It's the same side of Morgan Moses, but they're both up against, like, a pillar there. And there's a scale on one side. And then there's another machine that, like, you stand on it, and it vibrates you, and I still don't get it.
Yeah.
Even though one of the equipment guys explained it to us and was very excited to say it vibrates.
It was like, thrilled.
Okay. Anyway, because Mike Onwenu's at one end, he often is like very quiet and has his headphones on. It's just kind of chilling. Like that's him. He's Big Mike and he's a little quiet. He comes in and immediately jumps in to whatever the hell Morgan Moses and said other offensive linemen were talking about. And it was the biggest smile I've ever seen in his face. And I have a good relationship with Mike. Like we get along. We talk about college football. And I just was like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's besides David Andrews. He's not been around enough professional adults who are in there. And it's not all Morgan Moses. Again, Bradbury's been great. I think there's a really good presence in that room. But I was just happy for him. Like that dude came in during COVID, had a good second year, though he got benched. And then everything else has been blah. So to have this kind of presence for everybody's obviously good between Moses and Bradbury. But, these dudes are doing dinners on Thursday night and was just like, you talk about camaraderie. Like there it was. He just jumped straight in. Morgan was like, get out of here. We didn't include you in the conversation. I've never seen him do that before.
I refer to Nwenu as Mr. President because he is now the PA rep. We were discussing that. He's like, I want you to put the PA in front of that. Be just calling me Mr. President. By the way, also a guy with sneaky swag. I don't know if you like occasionally with the glasses or some of the outfits, you're like, all right, I didn't necessarily see that from you, but I'm all right. Go if you feel good with it, go with it.
It's an understated cool. Not like I've heard. Hey, it's cool. Like you can't move him except for when he just wants to jump into whatever conversation that Morgan Moses is having. It's amazing though that we've gotten this far and talked about the fixed run game. We talked about a receiver in Matt Collins, and I talked about Josh McDaniels and what he was doing schematically and with personnel. We didn't talk about the guy holding the ball. Rhamondre Stevenson had 88 yards, which is, grand scheme of things, whatever. But a season high for him. He didn't fumble. He came this close to matching his season high in terms of yards per carry. And oh, by the way, had 62 yards after contact. So we can talk about, the Titans' run defense isn't that good. And they did most of their damage when Jeffrey Simmons was on the field. Let's be clear. This was not Simmons leaves and the gates are open. This was, they got what they wanted when they wanted it, which was right away. Good game from him. And they need that from him because Trayvon Henderson played 9 snaps, and it's his lowest of the year. And none of those snaps told me Patriots are really keen on giving him much more.
Yeah, it's funny because going into it, I think I had it as one of my prize picks. I thought that Henderson would have like a big run in this game because I thought, we talked about the Titans' run defense not very good. I'm like, this might be a good place to, get the whole group healthy, but like maybe get him a little confidence and get him into that second level and see him do something. And to your point and Mike's point, when you asked him on Monday. Like very
Didn't like that, by the way. Could tell.
I mean, I don't know why. I don't know what you're expecting there, Mike. But anyway,
well, and not a big deal. I just it reinforces what Vrabel shows you is what he feels, and I think it's just generally like, hey, we won, and you want to ask about a rookie who's not playing a whole lot. Like I know he's not playing well, but 75% of snaps for any running back, let alone one who's had the fumble issues that Stevenson has, is a super high number.
Especially with the way they talked about him, like in prior, especially during the summer, but even in the beginning of the year when there were still some struggles, it was like, no. Like he'll be fine. He'll be good. And I'm not saying he's not going to be, but like clearly they felt more comfortable with Rhamondre. You mentioned a lot of those yards early, 42 on the first drive, right? So of his 88, 42 came in the first drive. But the one thing I would say was, well, two things. You mentioned yards after contact. That was more like the Rhamondre Stevenson we saw in week 1 last year in Cincinnati when he had like 100 of his 125 yards came after contact or whatever ridiculous number.
I think he had more after contact than total.
Yeah, it was something absurd, right? I mean, it was a lot of arm tackles in the back, but like whatever, he was doing that, and that was Rhamondre. But I also thought there were some really run-saving plays by him where there was nothing there, and it should have been a negative, or it should have been like a 1-yard gain. And no, he wiggled for 3, or he wiggled for 4, or he powered for whatever. Like that kind of stuff matters, like it's little things like that will help build confidence too. And we talked about him running carefully. I don't think he ran as carefully, but he hung on to the ball. So like strike that balance, right? Where you've got to protect it with your life because you're having these issues, but like you can't do it so much so that you lose some of your explosiveness. And I thought that was most of it was back to what you expected from him pre-fumbles.
It's the same thing with Maye, right?
Yep.
Risk reward. Like you're fighting for the extra couple yards, whether you're scrambling or I'm jumping outside of this particular gap because that's where the blocking is leading me, and I'm going to hold my arm out this way. And you don't want to lose that ball if you're either of them, but obviously not Rhamondre. So you're right. Like it's not something that's cured. No one's saying that. But to be able to get that creativity out of him, because the best backs are the ones that create yards in their own, right? The yards over expectation. You look at that, next gen stats, the top 5-6 running backs are all going to be among the best in the league. And he's not there, but his yards over expectation for this game were definitely high. Terrell Jennings had a couple nice runs late. All the numbers, by the way, that I rattled off do not include garbage time, which is only when Terrell Jennings really played. But good for him. Really well-liked guy in the locker room, has had a long life journey. Another guy who's well-liked in the locker room, this is my last offensive note, Josh Dobbs. 1 pass attempt. Mike Owenu gives up an immediate hurry, which, by the way, I had 3 down. Pro Football Focus has 1. I don't know what they were missing from the other 2. But anyway, he not only just sheds the dude coming for him immediately, rolls right, extended plays, completes a pass they really needed in that spot, and then just kind of keeps everyone around and treads water. Stayed ready, made a play. Nice job, Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, very good job. The one other note I was going to give you offensively was Kyle Williams. We kept thinking it was coming. He gets the 1 target on the comeback, and this is the first time because I felt like he's done what he's supposed to do. And, we had the debate last week whether or not the throw where Drake threw it behind him, whether that was on him or it was on Drake. Different people tell you different things. But in this one, he futzed around too much. He had like 37 different moves, and it threw off the timing of the play. And then Drake ended up being high. And in the moment, I'm like, Drake just missed him. Drake, and that was early. Drake was still not fully into that hot streak that he completed 16 passes in a row. And when I went back and watched him, like, you can't futz around that much. You don't have that much time. And that'll be, I don't think it's going to be a detriment and they're going to say you can't play anymore. But I think that'll be a good coaching point for Todd Downing to say, hey, dude, that was L'Jarius Sneed, who granted didn't have a good game, but he's big reputation at corner. And you can't make 17 moves on a 14-yard pass play. You don't have the time for that.
Futzing around.
Yes.
As a phrase is going to be great material for some dad pod segment that we do later on, because I've discovered that there's heavy rain today, right? I go to and from Foxborough, and you have people who are driving like it's 80 and sunny and the road is as dry as possible. And for the record, I do not drive like a ninny. Okay. Like this is not, grandma here behind the wheel, but there's just a way to drive and not endanger everyone around you, swerving lanes, this and that. And I'm cursing, of course. But I'm like, I can't do that for much longer. As soon as like my daughter learns how to speak and what that means, and that's probably like a year away, right? Internalizing all that. But I need some like quit futzing around, or just like something that's softer than the things I was actually saying today. So something food for thought.
Wait till the first time you do the rhyming game and the kid wants to rhyme with duck.
Oh no.
And they just start throwing out words because, duck, chuck, luck. And then invariably, and you giggle to yourself a little bit and then you just move on to the next one,
Yeah. You ready to talk some defense?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. First, I want to remind the people, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel @_Andrew Callahan, please do so. You are probably subscribed to the Patriots Press Pass channel of the CLNS Media Network, which I described earlier. We won't do it again. You're going to find all this content here. You're also going to find Demario Douglas revealing his Uber alias, My Name Leonard. I love that dude. I will just say it unabashed, no problem. He's got sticking for hands. That's my guy Leonard on the 4th down or whatever it was, reaching back. The short videos, the long ones, whatever you missed, whatever you haven't seen, if you're new, it's just all there and you can sample and take them for a test drive. So it's @_Andrew Callahan. Subscribe there on YouTube and Patriots Press Pass. Plus, if you're on Apple or Spotify listening, look, none of you have given a review recently. Do us a solid. We're having a good time here. Let's go. Let's dust this off. Just something simple. Takes 2 seconds. You're listening now. It's been almost an hour. I know you have a couple extra minutes. Defense, what stood out?
So I thought they approached this game with the idea that the Titans aren't going to beat us on the ground. We're not going to let them get any traction on the ground. I think you saw some of the linebacker stuff that we've been talking about with Gibbons, Tavai and Spillane. Easy for me to say.
Quit futzing around.
Yeah, tough futzing around. And then to me, it was just a direct. I know Mike said some nice things about Cam Ward, but I think they looked at the idea of, well, there was no Calvin Ridley, and they looked at those receivers, and they looked at a young quarterback who's now going through an interim head coach, and we're like, he could have the day of his life, and he's not going to beat us. So we're going to make sure that the run game, which can be good, and they do get physical with it, weren't going to beat him. And you saw, obviously, the game, more and more of the game got put on Cam Ward, especially as the score started to turn quickly, and it was, forget about it. They had no shot.
I think they expected the Titans to run a little bit more than they did. And
I would agree. I think the Titans gave up on it quick.
They did, because they only played, they played base in each of their first 4 drives.
Yep.
Okay. But then the final splits of the Patriots personnel, which some of this is you're out by a lot, and you're in pass defense, whatever. 81% they were in 3-corner nickel, 19% was in base. And going in, there's no way they weren't like, especially the way Tavai was playing on the edge. Hey, we're going to bulk up. We're going to stop them there. We trust our guys in coverage. But then it changed. And look, if you want to know why the Patriots started slowly, it's really simple. Here it is. Cam Ward hit one of those bootleg play action passes. It's very safe. Roll out. Hey, they think we're going to try to run the ball and control the clock and make this a variance game, low possession, blah, blah, blah. No. Here's 11 yards. Okay, fine. He hits that. Then an explosive play because Carlton Davis just fell down. That's 20 yards. 3 snaps later, they still out. Kick a field goal. That's 3-0. 3 plays into the next drive after he hit an 18-yarder, Cam Ward did, which I think was also play action. They have this schemed shot of a play that they've not run yet all season.
Yep.
About midfield, you saw it was the 1 touchdown that Cam Ward hit. And it's a max protection play, which looked a lot like the concept that they had just been spamming called flood, which if you can just picture for a second, 3 receivers on one sideline. The one who's innermost for the slot just goes, and this is not every flood concept, but just for the sake of description, just goes into the flat. There's your short route. The guy next to him, the middle receiver, goes up and runs a deep out, say like 15 yards. The guy closest to the sideline just runs a go, or it might be a corner if he's a little bit closer inside. That's a flood concept. You get at least 2 receivers running outbreaking routes, short, intermediate, and deep. We're spamming that because it's an easy read. Bunch of teams run them. So the Titans do this. And they start on this play looking like it's going to be another flood concept, the short receiver, the shallows coming from the opposite side. Except DK, whose first name I'm just not going to pronounce, starts to run just a straight vertical, like usually a clear out route. And Craig Woodson's going, okay, here comes another flood concept. And he got a great route, by the way, and ran by Marcus Jones. Instead of running a clear out or a corner, he runs a post. So he's running away from the other short and intermediate routes. It was a play they had never run before. It was max protected. They hit the route, set the Patriots up, and hit it. The one thing, though, that you could go, I can't let the Patriots off the hook for this. you know what it is? It's a specific player on this play.
Craig Woodson.
Nope. He's a lot closer to the quarterback. Or he should have been a lot closer to the quarterback. Keon White, who was blocked by Gunnar Helm until about 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
You just like that's the one weakness, even in this max protection play, if we have our tight end peeling around and he's going to block the edge defender who's going to have committed one way and come back and we'll stop him. It was 3 seconds and you just can't have it. And I've been really hard on Keon White in this podcast and I hope he figures it out. But I am so glad 7 weeks ago I said I'm out of the Keon White prediction business because if he just interferes or gets Cam Ward to have to check that ball down, the Patriots probably hold them to under 10 points. So anyway, that's why they started slow, only 3 points the rest of the way. That's what changes from a we got you, arms around you game to, ooh, what's going on here?
What do you make of their inability to deal with the scripted first 15? You know, with as everybody knows this now at this point, if you've been watching football at all. But Evan Lazar dug up some interesting numbers. First 3 drives, EPA per play. This is the Patriots defense. It's 30th in the league on the first 3 drives for EPA per play. The rest of the game, 3rd. Success rate, 32nd on the first 3 drives, so worst in the league. Rest of the game, 10th. Explosive play rate, almost 20%, 30th in the league. Rest of the game, 11%, which is 8th in the league. So, like, they've talked about it. We talk about it almost every week with Mike. Mike talked about it today. They have not figured out that thing for 7 weeks.
So I don't have a great answer for this because like you and I deep dive all of these different games, and clearly when Tennessee calls up a lot of those flood concepts, they probably thought, hey, they're not great at defending this. And the Patriots base coverage, which honestly, they don't really have one here through 7 games, but based on the coaching staff and their background, they want to play quarters. Okay. The vulnerability in quarters is going to be in the flats, which are obviously not covered. And often if you run a clear out, like we just described with the outermost receiver, okay, that takes that nearest side corner who's covering a deep fourth, even though you match, and there are a lot of different versions of quarters, and we all get this, that opens up the deep out. So that concept is very friendly and accessible versus a defense like the Patriots. The other thing I would say is whatever they're doing on early downs is really where all those numbers come from. The explosive plays are not on 3rd down, where the Patriots have been very good. Mm-hmm. And clearly with some of the boot motion and the unexpected stuff, that's just going to happen. I will say I'm not worried about it yet. As bad as the Saints are, who just like both Zach Core and Kellen Moore a week ago were just like F it on the first play, corner blitz, and we're running 9-8-9, which is 2 goes in a post, and F it. And the Saints won on that one. Every team has something through 7 games. It could be slow starting, it could be penalties, it could be something that you just got to work on and figure it out. The issue is if it doesn't get better, because the Patriots tackling, I will tell you, has gotten a lot better. And this is not to mask those problems. We can have good stuff and we can have bad stuff simultaneously. That is life. This is not an excuse, but it's to say if they're still giving up scripted pass plays, or explosive plays and touchdowns and gains, like those numbers are bad. They can't keep up. But if they fix it, then obviously I'm not as worried about it. And I don't think it's a thing as much as just kind of noise.
I think that's fair. It's just, it's curious because this is an experienced staff.
Well, not on defense.
I mean, yes and no. It's still Mike's defense. I mean, he's got his fingerprints all over everything, as he is fond of telling us. So, and there are plenty of guys on that staff that are experienced. Maybe not in Zach, obviously not in his role, but I don't know. I would think that the head coach would be in their ear a little bit. Like,
well, I mean, you got Scott Booker, you got Justin Hamilton, like Clint McMillan. These are all dudes who were like assistants, or Booker was a Nichols coach at Buffalo, but that was 1 year there, and everyone's kind of like just been promoted. So, like, look, I'm again not letting them off the hook. You can't keep doing this.
Letting them off the hook.
But I'm just saying that staff is young, and that's just what it is. So I don't know. I don't even know if it would be better though if Terrell was a defensive coordinator, because this is a counterfactual, and there's the beauty of counterfactuals is you can say whatever the hell you want. No one's going to know. And his only play calling, game that we have to work off of wasn't particularly good against the Raiders. So who knows? But yeah, I don't. Clearly, teams have a beat on this. The weird thing is when you think about explosive plays on early downs, you think play action. And look, the Titans just hit them over the head, bottle smashed right there with that touchdown. But before this week, they were pretty good on play action. So I don't know. Christian Gonzalez being out too also factors in. Like, there's a lot of noise. It's not all BS. I'm not saying it's even BS at all. Like, clearly they're not good enough early on. But I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I don't either. Just something to continue to watch.
To wrap up the point about like the Patriots just kind of playing, hey, we're just gonna watch you. And Cam Ward, who's taken 25 sacks and fumbled 5 bajillion times, you're probably going to do that if we just hang back and let you do it. They had 90% zone coverage rate. That is their highest of the season. That is, we got eyes on the quarterback. We know Christian Gonzalez could play one-on-one. They would give up a catch and man coverage. 10% man. They blitz 13% of the time, which again is, we trust our front four. We're not going to force it. Keep you in front, and you're going to screw up. They got Cam Ward to drop a ball. They got Cam Ward to throw a pick. And you got penalties on holds and this and that really helped out. So there was nothing crazy here. I mean, they just guys covered 2 and got to it in a lot of different ways. And they had some sim pressures and they ran cover 3. And that was kind of it. It was a simple plan for a straightforward game.
Yeah, no need to get exotic, to the point. They looked at that team and said, if we play a B-level game, we're going to win handily. Heaven forbid you played an A-level game, what you would have done. Also interesting, Dan Moore was the guy that the Patriots, many left tackles that the Patriots were very hot on in the offseason to try to shore up that position. Caleb Vaughn did some bad things to that man. He worked on him pretty good at various points during the course of the game. And again, he's not a good run defender, but as a pass rusher, that speed, that get off, he's been a good addition on that front.
He doesn't know it yet, but I'm hoping to tell him Thursday when we do our next 4-minute drill. And I don't know if he has an Uber alias. We'll find out. Amid some other stuff.
I think now you need to, I think that is that a question that needs to be asked every week?
It might be. I try to mix it up. But what I'm saying is I don't know if he knows he's my guy, but I will inform him. And then I'm thinking of reading off some tweets from the summer and just be like, what would you say to a person who was saying this to you in public? You'd be like, get away from me. Clearly this is a person who has a problem. But anyway, you're right. He led them in pressures against the Titans. He leads them in pressure rate for the season. To the run defense point, which is a good one, because the Titans ran left almost immediately, and that's something we've been talking about again and again and again. Yeah. And one of those times they ran left, Caleb Chason wasn't there. And it wasn't because they put him somewhere else and they were hiding him. He was on the sideline. Well, I guess they were hiding him because you couldn't run at him. Jelani Tavai was there. And it's a small little wrinkle that when they go and play, I think they were still in nickel at that point. It's in my notes here somewhere. But anyway, you can protect him because you now have players who are a little bit more versatile. Whereas you know where Christian Ellis is going to be and Robert Spillane. And they'll move the Barmore and Milton Williams around. But Tavai gives you a little bit something different. And I think that is really going to help in addition to keeping Chase on fresh. But he was also the only one, aside from Landry, had a sack because Christian Barmore, who deserves a lot of credit, is the pick man. A lot of these stunts. But the rest of the pressures, even though they were around 36%, I'm like, I didn't like putting it down, not because I didn't believe it or that these guys didn't win the pass rush rep. It was just compared to most hurries or hits. Cam Ward was only hit 5 times. Let me put it that way. He wasn't really affected. He was just, guys got close. It was kind of soft pressure, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it 100%. We were texting back and forth about it, and there were definitely some where I was like, it doesn't pass this. I know some people are going to give him a pressure. It doesn't pass my sniff test. He didn't do enough to unnerve the quarterback, move the quarterback from his spot. And I will say this about Cam Ward, by the way, and I have no idea if he's going to be good or not. This is a horrible way to do this, and this is just a quick aside. He did make some throws in that game. Yeah. You're like, oh, baby, he can. The 18-yarder where Spillane was the pole runner, cover 2. You know the one I'm talking about? Just really just
he threw left hash, crosser right to left. Yeah,
ripped it in there. There was a couple of them that were really nice. I mean, the long one to Shamire DK. That's my guess. Sure. Beautiful throw. I mean, it was obviously he was well open, but he didn't have to break stride. So who knows?
To that point, because I tweeted out that clip and I forgot to put Mark Jackson voice, because you remember that's good defense. It's just better offense. Yes. Hand down, man down. Mama, there goes that man. Oh, that's what it was. And I believe in Cam Ward. There's some stuff where he's falling away and arm angles aren't great. And it's not just the creativity stuff where everyone was hammering Drake May about the footwork and this and that. I'm like, it's not an issue. And the stuff that is an issue is very fixable. Yeah, there's something there.
I think so.
Couple more notes, and just to put a bow on the tackling thing. Patriots missed 3. Christian Ellis had 1. I think Christian Ellis had another really good game. And he didn't play a ton, but he had a good game. And the 5 tackles they've missed the last 2 weeks combined, which we all know, Saints and Titans, are not going to make you miss. And in fact, have not made you miss as much as Devon Achane did in week 2.
Yeah.
But still, those 5 missed tackles over the last 2 weeks are less than, PrizePicks, shout out, less than all the missed tackles you had in week 1, all the missed tackles you had in week 2, 3, 4, and 5 individually. The last 2 weeks have been much, much better than each of those first 5 games, so credit to them. Here's something, you tell me if this makes sense too. When I watched the Patriots in the secondary, mentioned Christian Gonzalez only gave up a catch, and Carlton Davis fell down, but otherwise it was like, okay. I want them to play with a little more force. Like when I watch them play, I don't feel that offenses really feel them, which is weird to say about a Vrabel defense, because even before, they took the field and I'm making calls, and what do you know about a Vrabel team and this and that? And what we saw in Tennessee, they're violent, they're physical. But you look at some of the numbers, they're bottom 10 in pass breakups. They're bottom 3 in completion percentage allowed. So I think there is part of it. You just have to squeeze routes. You're playing all this spot drop stuff. And when you're matching, you just got to get there. And you got to be tighter in coverage, which is easy for me to say. But even when you're there, it's not just the hit after the fact. It's like, get in there and kind of create some disruption at the catch point. Like, I don't know. There's just something there that just seems to be missing, playing with that type of force and making an opponent feel you.
Yeah, I would say the only defensive back that's done that with any consistency over the first 7 weeks is Marcus Jones, who's your smallest guy. And we know coming off the great game against the Saints, he was the primary guy in coverage on the long touchdown, although, as I mentioned, Woodson didn't exactly help him out there as the free safety got turned around big time. Yeah, it's interesting. Davis has been not as good as I expected. Not bad. Like, I've heard some people say he's bad. I don't think he's bad. Like, I don't know what you were expecting. I think he's been fine. Maybe a little bit above fine. But, like, there's always a couple plays a game. There's 3 plays a game where you're just like, what the hell was he doing there? Like, where, he's getting a flag every game. That's like, you might as well just pre-put it in the game log. It's going to happen at some point. Gonzalez, I think what I was hoping for Gonzalez, and it's still early, obviously, because he missed the first 4 games of the season, is that he was going to create more turnovers this year. And maybe part of this is just sort of getting comfortable with the way they're playing defense and also getting comfortable in his leg and just feeling like he's 100%. And I don't, can tell us he's 100%. I don't know if he is or not. But yeah, there is something to that where you definitely would feel like there needs to be more physicality. And I thought Vrabel, I think it was this morning, maybe it was on, well, I don't know. Vrabel said something to the effect of like talking about the guys up front. Now you're talking about the guys in the back, but like basically they need to feel us more. There needs to be more physicality from that group as well. So I think he seems to turn his attention to something every week specifically and put it in the press. And this feels to me like this is one of those things where he's going to challenge those guys to be more disruptive and be more physical because I think they need it. I mean, if they want to be the kind of defense that we kind of thought they could be before the season started, part of that is the physicality aspect.
Speaking of putting things in the press, I was not there in Nashville, but I saw a tweet. I think it was from Doug, from Garrett Bradbury. Like, hey, why did the run game, kind of turn around today? It was something to the effect of, well, we just get tired of you guys talking about it so much. Or like, what changed it? You guys talking about it so much, which knowing Garrett, the little that I do now is like clearly in jest, but also like that's a way where, granted, we are asking when coaches talk about it. It's often because we have requested an answer, but they've also volunteered. Yeah, it's not good enough. And it's just a nice moment where we're like, yeah, we can laugh. We've been bagging on you and everything's fine. There's no, Garrett Bradbury dunked in the media. Yeah. Oh, it's like, yeah, we've been talking about it. It stinks. Everyone can see that your coaches can. But if you're Vrabel kind of playing the media mind games and feeding things, so even besides the meeting rooms, that they just kind of hear it or see it when they're on social media, which they're all on their phones before or after practice. Could be smart. I don't know. I'm not taking credit for any yards per carry or anything like that. But, I don't know. We'll see. Anything left on defense?
I did want to point out 3 things.
Oh,
Joshua Farmer. I like to do that. I like to do the individuals here. Once again, 2 or 3 times a game. He's not playing a ton of snaps, but when he plays, you see him and you feel him. Like he's continues to be someone that I've been very impressed with. I thought this might have been the best game Kyle Duggar's played in a while. And I think it's just from a, I don't know, comfort factor. Like, all right, I'm going to be out there again the whole game. And I'm starting to get some communication with Woodson, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better in the defense. And I think he gave up 1 catch, but like even his coverage felt a little bit better to me. Like, I don't know, just felt like a more comfortable Kyle Duggar. And we haven't seen that in a long time, from start to finish. So that was a good thing. And last one, more teams going to do this. Teams have done this. They did this to you in the summer. Throw at the linebackers. Throw at the linebackers. Throw at the linebackers. I think Spillane was in coverage for 5 catches, which, zone, whatever. You can, how you want to assign responsibility there. I'm not saying those are strictly on him and he's supposed to be like this man cover guy and be all up in him. And then you have Marte Mapu, who, granted, a lot of it was late in the game, but like, this is your role. This is what they've been doing with you. They go nickel in obvious passing situations. It's you and Spillane as the linebackers. And I don't know how many times was he targeted, like 7, 8. That was a bunch, and there was a bunch of completions on him. And again, nothing big, nothing major. He had a nice pass breakup down the middle of the field. But like, that's an area to me, Andrew, where every offensive coordinator in the league's got to be like, dude, until they stop it, we should spam the hell out of it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking up those coverage numbers now, which, like, look, there's a lot of good stuff that comes from PFF, and this is not the token nice thing that you say before you just crap on somebody. The coverage numbers are a problem because they just assign blame for every single thing in zone. If it's a prevent defense and it's before the half and they throw a check down, which is a win for the defense, nobody cares. It's good.
Yep.
They say you allowed whatever number of yards if you were closest. Kyle Duggar, I was curious how many man coverage snaps he played. And because it just has to factor in knowing how basically ineffective it's never been his strong suit playing man coverage. And I was like, did they hide him? Did they do something? No, he played as many man coverage snaps as any of the other safeties and 1 fewer than Christian Gonzalez, which again, they played man 10% of the time. It's not very high. Marte Mapu, again, given the PFF grades and all that includes, give up 6 catches in zone coverage, which is also a function of just checkdowns. He's not the asset that I think you would like a specialized linebacker to be when you put him on the field in favor of Ellis or Jack Gibbons, but he's doing enough. Like, that's there, but it's definitely, you're right, an area that teams are going to pick at. And Farmer, I had down for two pressures. I was making that face because I forgot. I mean, his numbers are in there, but I didn't shout him out like the little player notes part of my film review. And it's such a good shout because that's the stuff you see now. And then against Cleveland, you're like, oh my God, Josh Farmer had a sack. Like, where did this come from? Well, it's been building.
Yeah. No, I think he's been playing. I think, again, not getting a ton of snaps, but like we talked about the idea, they've tried to keep Milton Williams and Barmore fresh. I think they're both around 65% of the snap counts thus far this season. And it's because of obviously Tonga's emergence. And it was a relatively quiet game for him in this one, but getting stuff out of Farmer, Corey Durden has given them some plays as well and given them, there was one play I tweeted out where all 3 of the interior guys whooped ass up front. All of them were in the backfield, all of them combined on the play. And it was just like, it was Barmore, Durden, and Farmer. And it was just like, you all get you all get gold stars for that play. You just absolutely kick the crap out of the interior of that offensive line. And that play was over before it even started. So the fact that they're getting that sort of contribution from those guys allows them to continue to say, all right, I know we're paying you a lot of money, but we'll take you over here for a few more snaps so you can be fresh in big moments and you get up the pass, get up the field and make the sack on Cam Ward on the 3rd down where basically like blew by that guy in a split second. Like the game, I guess, was still, that wasn't, I mean, it was over, but I guess they still had a chance at that point, and that pretty much ended that.
Yeah. It's funny when a guy has a sack and now just like, like his total pressures wasn't that great. And it's not that I don't care about Milton Williams having a sack. He's just been so steady in that regard that even though they're rotating, and I think they're doing an excellent job at leveraging Barmore and Milton Williams when they really want them.
Yep.
For those big downs, while still obviously playing them, as much as you would want to play 2 of your better players. It's just really worked out there, and you see it in the production. Okay.
You continue to miss, by the way, with Barmore on the edge on one play, Williams inside, like just continuing to give teams different looks. And, I don't think that's Barmore's best spot by any stretch of the imagination, but like just something different.
Yeah. Yeah. And Barmore, again, I said it. It's in the Herald tomorrow. It'll be online. Really good job as the pick man on all these stunts. Like totally freed up Harold Landry on that sack. And Landry could have done whatever he wanted against his old team and, taunted or whatever. And that's not like his character. First thing he did was just point to Christian, be like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I owe you. Studs and duds.
Maye, Chason, Moses, Stevenson, Barmore.
Oh, we went 4 for 5. I had Bradbury over Barmore.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. Duds?
Julian Ashby, no more penalties, buddy.
Oh,
long snapper. Don't need to hear your name unless you're making a tackle. Woodson getting spun around like that, not great. Also made a hell of a read on a screen pass that you got to go back and watch because you were like, I don't remember. He got absolutely demolished by the like he was this close to making the play, and the lineman just came over and cracked him, and is like, you could see his soul leave his body for a minute. That was that heavy of a hit. And then your left side, Will Campbell, Jared Wilson. I thought Will was okay, but again, you mentioned 3 pressures. Early run blocking was great. Kind of fell off a couple things late, which I'm going to continue to harp on. And Wilson was in the middle of 3 sacks, basically. Like whether you want to, as you mentioned, whether you want to assign responsibility to him on one of them, or if that was Campbell's, I don't know. He also made an awesome block. I think it was the 11-yard run by Stevenson, where he got to the second level, and you're like, that's the athleticism that we was like, yes, like that's what he's capable of consistently. He just, he's still a work in progress. So I put those 2 guys, again, not like thumbs way down, but like it needs to be better.
Yeah. I had Wilson, Woodson, Keon White for that one play, but I just like when that becomes that big of a play that you could have blown up, and then the Titans are drawing dead basically the rest of the game. They only scored 3 points. That was it for me. Julian Ashby, though, good shot, because we never talked special teams on there. I'm sorry for all of the special teams sickos out there, including our pal Alex Barth, possibly if he listens.
Barth,
he does love the 4-minute drills. I know that. Those are getting some steam. I'm happy, mostly thanks to my name Leonard.
It's tremendous. Tremendous.
Just come on every week. I don't know.
Probably.
Pop Douglas. Okay. Let's do this first. Let me have it. I have to sit here. What did I say that annoyed you, pissed you off during this episode? And then I'll return the favor.
So I'm going to draw this up, and this is not on the episode, folks, but we make reference to our text chain from time to time. And as anybody who follows me on social media knows, Mike Reese is the king of the pun. And the moment he hits me with a pun, I just respond and just say Mike. And that's gone around. Andy Hart, you're yourself, Fitzy, there are other Doug. You throw a pun out there. I don't do puns. I'm out on puns. So I'll just hit him with a name. I'm trying to find the exact. Where is it, Mike? Maybe.
So Reese pokes the bear. I know this is where you talk, and I have to sit in it. But just
thank you for us. So I get this text that also includes Mike Reese in it, and it says, "Maybe we wait a little while then, Giardi ? That is, if you think you're vrable to wait instead of able." Pun number 1. I just don't want to digs myself in a hole with you, Stefan Diggs. Dig 2. Can't have you telling me you're suddenly Gonzo from the pod. Holy Moses. Even the thought has Gibbons me a heart attack. 5 puns in one text. My response was, I may hurt you. To which Reese just responded, LOL. But I'm sure there were a couple of things I could have zipped you about in this pod, but I was saving that. That was going to be the case all day long.
You know what the best part about that is? You missed the first pun.
Oh no.
Maybe Maye. There were 6, which again, imminent dad emerging. The
Oh
fat
my
white
God.
New Balances are coming. I'm going to have my shirts tucked in. I'm going to text like that. It's all happening. I can't stop it. But you got that in full force, which Mike also going just lowercase LOL in a period, which this is
Yes.
more common. I thought this was unique to my wife. When people punctuate their texts and they normally don't, to me, that is normally a sign that like they really mean it. And
Yeah.
it's not just like, someone says fine and they put a period and they're like, oh, what did I do? Why are you mad? This is like, you bother to punctuate. You're driving this home. And so
Yes,
I was
you
like,
have
oh,
you have brought that up about me. You punctuated that. I'm like, it doesn't.
no,
Sometimes it means
there's
something,
there.
sometimes it doesn't. Go ahead, let me have it.
Okay. This episode is titled, How Good Can the Patriots Be? I ask you this question in the first 5 minutes because the people want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know. I read a column on Sunday. What is the Patriots ceiling now? Your answer to the question that headlines this episode, that is going to be the talking point all week that we get to start here in the Pass Interference Podcast, is I don't know. Come on. We can't be the guys that don't know. We are paid to know. And even if we quote unquote only know or think or believe and we're wrong, that's the beauty of everyone getting to play this back in our faces and laugh and mailbag and quote tweet and poke and all this different stuff. They're a good team. I know that. That's why I said it. You gave me, I don't know.
I said it with a little more zest than that.
Did you punctuate it? Yeah.
I did. I'm just being honest.
They're good. They're good.
They're
good and they know it, by the way.
The world is not just black and white, Andrew. There's plenty of gray. And I know sometimes that doesn't make for good show content, but sometimes that is just where the world is. And I am okay with the gray.
Look, I don't need to paint in two colors. I just need an answer on my podcast. That's all I'm looking for.
I gave you one.
The world's not black and white. I'm in the gray sweatshirt. You were there in your little black t-shirt that you got from Baby Gap.
That's not accurate at all.
You want to do mailbag?
Yes.
Really good. Proud of.
We're approaching an hour and a half. Yes, let's get the mailbag. Amit might be curled up in a ball.
No, Amit's laughing because you shop at Baby Gap. Okay, we have.
That's not right, Amit.
We're going to start with the long question first. Kenny V, who has been deep into the tape. Quote, how much of the run game's improvement yesterday had to do with the Titans playing less single high safety and being bad on run defense? The O-line looked improved on duo and inside runs. Moses was making pancakes. Side question, Jared Wilson still has trouble. Could they play more Ben Brown or should they target a left guard at the deadline? I'm going to take the trade deadline stuff off the table because we'll probably get to that in a little bit more. But how much of it was just the Titans were like, sure, go ahead and run at us. And the Patriots said, okay.
I mean, I think we detailed this. I think some of it was that. But as you mentioned, they did show late and end up with more guys in the box than you would initially think when you're talking about two shell. So I don't know. I mean, I think they were convicted in it. They got some good runs early, and it wasn't consistent the rest of the game, but it was good enough. So I don't know. I would say this. I'm still rolling Jared Wilson out there, like on the back part of that, the Ben Brown thing. Like, and not that when we saw Ben did a nice job, but Jared Wilson is a big part of your offensive line's future, and he has not done something so egregiously bad that he deserves to not be out there when you play Cleveland next week.
I agree. And I think this answers the question that we have next from Jordan, longtime listener to the pod. Actually been on the pod in a male fan segment, which we're going to be bringing back soon for the folks who want to be on the pod for 5-10 minutes. He's asking, is it time to replace Jared Wilson with Ben Brown? I will take this one. No, not yet. Granted, 2 sacks, really bad. And if I'm Jim Schwartz, Brown's defensive coordinator, who at a clinic a long time ago, I wasn't there, but saw the clip and did some more reading and look, he knows what he's talking about. Bad offensive lines, he likes to rush 5. And I think they're going to look at the Patriots and go, I know the metrics are good, but we're going to take our chance having to create negative plays, the defensive version of explosives, to change this game around. And they'll probably do their best to get as many one-on-ones as possible, knowing the Patriots, like everyone, are going to give extra attention and chip and boot away from and fake and wham and all this different stuff, Myles Garrett. But they're gonna look at Jared Wilson and they're going to see this tape and try to isolate him. But I still give him a little bit more time. Granted, if things are going badly, that's when I would pull the rookie. But for now, not yet. And I like Ben Brown.
Yeah, me too. Look, he did a very fine job last year, considering what he was thrown into. as the starting center for this football team after being, plucked off a practice squad like 3 days before. He's proven to be, he's got some value in this league. So I'm not by any stretch, but Wilson is a big part of what you're trying to do going forward.
Useless Ben Brown fact nobody asked for. The man plays the trombone and the guitar, but his freshman year in Mississippi, where he just grew up backwoods somewhere, he played the first half of a football game, then in uniform, stayed on the field. Everyone else is going to the locker room because him and his trombone needed to be part of the marching band. So he plays marching around in full uniform, then comes back with the team and plays the second half. Did not get any respite for Ben Brown. Who's good.
You know who was also a tuba player?
Well, who's
former Patriot Jordan Devy.
Oh, yes. Interior offensive lineman, big brass guys.
Yes.
All right. Are the Browns the best defense we play this year? This is from Felipe.
They'll be the best one you've played so far. I think by the metrics, they and Atlanta are kind of similar, right? I think Atlanta's pretty high up in DVOA. Again, the benefit here is you get both of those teams at home. But yeah, this is a good test. Like I said, I think it's good that Cleveland won this past weekend.
Yes,
because I think it gives them a little confidence. And like I know you're not thinking that you want the Patriots to win, but I want a team that's ready to play and come in here and think, hey, if we can do X, Y, and Z, we can hang around. We can maybe beat this team. And now, look, the Patriots are 5-2. Now teams are going to start looking at you a little differently than they did before. So I think it's a good test.
They're currently third in defense by EPA, which again, Patriots are seventh. I don't think anyone looks at this and says they're the seventh best defense in the league. Success rate when rushing is 31%. So this is a like effort slinging around. I brought this game up before. You might have been there. 2006, Pats are in Minnesota. Kevin Williams, Pat Williams, the middle of that, a Monday night game, and they had no receiver. They're like, we're not running at this defense and giving up like 60 yards per game.
Yeah, and that was the game that when they got on the plane after the game, Corey Dillon was ready to fight Bill Belichick.
Oh,
Corey Dillon was the running back on the.
I've never heard that story. Was it because of the game plan?
Yes.
Interesting.
I mean, he's Corey Dillon, who, by the way, now making the media rounds. He was on Edelman's pod. He's coming across as all like gregarious. Not gregarious.
There is a more recent Patriots running back.
Maybe changed. So 15, 20 years ago, we all can change, as someone said. Rocky Balboa in the worst Rocky 4.
Oh, come on.
I hate Rocky 4.
I'm not a Rocky academic, but I think for what it was, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to finish that comment I was doing. Anyway, last one from X, and then we'll go to Blue Sky. Damien asking, do you feel the Patriots should be trading at the trade deadline? What's Vrabel's usual tendencies, and who could we realistically get? Okay, let's just turn this into a general trade deadline discussion, in which we will have a lot more in upcoming episodes, and probably next week with you, because Patriots are 5-2. When they get to the deadline, it's very likely they will be 6-3 or 7-2. The only way they're not is if they lose the next two, and they are 5-4. So to me, you're in a position to add. I know they are going to be precious. You can clip this if you want. The Patriots are going to be precious with their draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should be precious with their draft picks. For example, Chris Olave, who a little scuttlebutt that you're here, ask around, probably goes for a second, maybe a third and some change. They would love a first. Probably not going to happen. All that pricing puts the Patriots just out of the market. As I see it right now, we are always open to change and surprise. Maybe the Saints get drunk and say, sure, for a fourth. Fine. Don't think it happens. I think there will be small ads here and there. Diana Rossini said they have not called around about running backs to the team she's spoken with. I would absolutely add a running back. I know they would love to add on the edge or just kind of boost that pass rush like we've talked about. Beyond that, like I don't think the big swing for a receiver is there. Plus, their passing game has been excellent. So that's where I'm at on the trade deadline.
Yeah, and again, like the big asset, when you move a big asset, you're saying, I don't know, you're saying it's now. The timetable is now. And like, not that you're not embracing what you are at this point, but the big picture view of your roster, again, I keep saying it, is they're another offseason away from having the kind of flexibility they want with their roster. So like, oh, Maye's on a rookie contract. Like, I don't see them parting with a first, second, or third. Like, it would maybe, I guess, maybe something could intrigue you with the 3, maybe, but most likely we're talking about a day 3 draft pick. Most likely we're talking about something later on where you're pick swapping and doing those sorts of things, and you're getting something more of a depth piece than someone who's really going to sort of change your outlook. Like, I would throw this name out there. I forget what year it was. Patriots went to the Super Bowl, I believe, that year. Well, they went to the Super Bowl. Jonathan Castillo, linebacker. They traded with the Giants. It was one of the years the Giants weren't in the mix. And they traded for Castillo, who was more of a pass
13,
coverage.
14?
I think so. More of a pass coverage, but like that kind of thing. Like special teams guy, he could carve out a role on defense. Like you could put him out there. He gave you some depth. If something happened to one of your guys, you're like, we can roll him out there for 40 snaps and like we could survive. That kind of thing. Because I think if you look at a lot of different spots on this roster and you say, something happens to that guy, we're doing what next? If something happens to that guy, how are we gonna get by with that? So like that to me is more of what we're thinking about at this point.
I think it's a great shout. I wrote about this last week, and I was looking at all the Ravens running backs because, Anthony Jennings is a player who has been on the block, reported this for months.
Yep.
And I'm looking, there's not many teams that he would fit, but one who has a bad run defense in a history of Alabama players and can manufacture scheme is Baltimore. So I came back to a name you threw out first on this podcast last week, Justice Hill. I said, I think Jennings in a 6, Jennings in a 7th, maybe it's a conditional 6. Fort Hill makes a lot of sense to me. One big name I did throw out, and I don't think this is feasible, but Bill Barnwell framed this because I had no idea what Jalen Phillips' market would be. But for the Dolphins, who should sell, absolutely should sell, for a guy who plays a premium position and when healthy is having 8, 9 sack seasons, 26 hits, I think, in his second year.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Phillips in a pick swap trade, as Bill put it, smarter than me. He was like a 3rd for Phillips in a 5th or 6th or something like that to Detroit, which, by the way, if you're in the market for an edge rusher, you are going to have competition from big hitters who are ready to go all in, already are all in. That to me, I would do, because even though he's in a contract year, you get him in, you start recruiting, and you know that his injury history, where he played his first 2 seasons, has hardly played since, is going to dent his market and bring his price down. But if he's healthy, that is a player who's 26, plays a premium position, and produces like few guys do at that spot that you might be able to get for a discount. Granted, you'd rather just sign him, but they're going to have a lot of extensions and a lot of guys they want to re-sign this upcoming offseason, even though their cap space, which I completely whiffed on this in the same piece, they're not over the cap for next year, which is where they were as of the summer. They're about $55 million in cap space for next year. So that's someone I would look at, plus a bunch of smaller names, Jerome Ford, like you might see this weekend. That's about it. So those are all my thoughts.
Yeah, and I would say just on the edge rusher thing, Cincinnati winning the other day was bad for anyone in the edge rushing market because Hendrickson's out. You figured if Cincinnati lost a couple more, they'd say, you know what, Burrow's on ice for the rest of the year. We'll see you next year, buddy. And we're going to sell Trey Hendrickson to the highest bidder because, as we know in detail for 3 years now, they haven't been able to figure out a long-term contract situation, and both sides have been pretty pissed at the other. Guy's not going to not play, so like they figured something out. They got him on the field this year before he hurt his back a couple weeks ago. But like they win, and now all of a sudden it's like either the price went up for him or he's just not going to move at all. Either way, again, that's sort of then it's, oh, well, I don't want to give up a second-round pick for Trey Hendrickson in the last year of his contract. We move to the next guy. Maybe the next guy is Jalen Phillips or Bradley Chubb or whomever. And it's like, then all of a sudden you're like, well, then we're out of that market. Now we're into the, who are we talking about now? Somebody on somebody's roster that he had a sack once 2 years ago. And I don't know, we'll throw him out there and see what happens.
Yeah. And I want to make 2 things clear. Number one, when we talk about what we think the Patriots will do, this is not, okay, if Mike Vrabel made Mike GM or Mike Vrabel made me the GM, what we would do, which is sometimes lots when I do television with a certain person and explain what they're doing and what they're thinking based on things that I know, not what I would choose. Number 2 is the Patriots do have some extra picks coming up, and it's an extra 4th next year, and I think it's an extra 6th if memory serves, and then you have an extra 7th for the cost of the Jalen Polk experience in 2027. So there is wiggle room here. I'm not guaranteeing anything. If you do clip this, include what I just said. Nobody knows. 7-2, you don't add, you probably should. But just to keep that all in mind, they've got some ammo if they want to, and I think they should. But Vrabel has said multiple times, you're one of a program. You're one of the program. We're rebuilding. they're sticking to the division. All right, that covered a lot of trade questions we got. So I'm going to do two more. Henderson's fallen out of favor with the running backs. Do they have to get a running back? We just covered the trade piece of that. But Henderson, they still have a role for him. Vrabel said today he's going to be part of the plan. It's the impatient running. It's the blitz pickup, which he didn't give up a pressure, but he only had, I think, 2 pass blocking snaps against – they just play the Titans. It's just not good right now, you know? And I think it'll slow down. It'll be better for him. But, like, I got both hands up. Did we overhype him? Did anybody overhype him? Yes. Look over here. Sorry. That was me.
I think they overhyped him for what they said about him versus what they've got from him. And I think they're surprised that it hasn't clicked yet.
I mean, Elliot Wolf took a victory lap to Yahoo Sports in the summer.
Yeah.
Read it. Jory Epstein wrote a good piece, but like should not be doing that before he plays the game.
No.
Okay, last one. This is from Theora Jones, who sticks out because I don't know anyone else in my life whose name is Theora, but she signs this Nervous Nelly. And this comes back to the one thing we were talking about with Drake, like, please do a little bit less of this. Every time Drake runs, my heart is in my throat in case he gets injured. Is this just how life is to have a mobile quarterback? Should he be sliding sooner than he has been? Or should we be expecting him to take on defenders, even in the regular season, against this relatively low-stakes games? Which is just so funny that we've gotten here so fast. Yeah. 7 games in after 3 years of slop and incompetence and dysfunction. And I'm so glad Doug and I do not have to do what the fuck happened. I waited 100 minutes into curse. I'm sorry to all the old men in the YouTube comments. But I don't have to do that piece this year, and I'm happy about it. Look, he just has to throw it away. That's what it is. You don't have to worry about sliding. You don't have to worry about, can I gain an extra yard? If you just throw it away.
Yeah, like the 21 for 23 and the new franchise record is awesome at 91%. You should have thrown 3 or 4 of those runs away. You just should have thrown them away, and then you're not taking those hits. And the journey that you traversed to get 0 yards or 2 yards, not worth it, man. Throw the ball out of bounds. I don't think he's thinking about his completion percentage. I'm not saying that that's the thing. I'm just saying like 21 of 27 would have been just as awesome if you took 3-4 less hits.
And he knew it too. He said it in the press conference after. So this is not us wagging a finger at Drake Maye that doesn't know why or would disagree. Like, he'd tell you the same thing. He did.
Quick one. Just quick.
Yeah.
Quick.
Concussion protocol.
He went to his head immediately. Slow to get up. And like, how many plays did he miss? 4?
I can tell you.
Yeah.
Quick. Well, he hit his head, got up, lingered, then shook it, and was like,
he did it on the ground though. He went hands to head when he was on the ground. Someone goes hands to the head.
He missed 3 plays. 3 plays.
Okay. Like, to me, you're out, and I know what they're supposed to be doing in there, but like, you can't tell me he wasn't impacted. He didn't go to his head because he was mad that he got tackled. He went to his head because he smacked his head off the turf and he was feeling a little funky. And if you want to, like, when he came back in, the throw to Pop, which I think was like 2 or 3 plays after he came back in, was his only throw that wasn't even remotely close to anybody. And Pop made the one-handed catch.
Well, you had a Stevenson throw into the flat.
Yep.
Play action. Then you had the slant, which we talked about, to Diggs. 3rd and 8. Where's he going?
Third
motion away, backside, weak side slant, and then 4th and 1. So the third play when he made that throw, which
I forgot the slant to Diggs, because the first one was the play action, and it was just simple, just get the ball out. But I mean, I've talked to a million guys who've played in the league who all told me that they would much rather have their head dinged than their knee blown up, because you can manage your way through a head injury to play that day or play the next week. You can't manage your way from a torn ACL. Obviously, the long-term repercussions are different, but I don't know. It just seemed like it was pretty damn quick to me.
Let's end on a happier note.
Yes. Sorry,
who made that catch.
It was bothering me. It was bothering me since the game. It's
totally fair, and I agree with you. And I was shocked that he came back just based on the reaction. Not a doctor. I was at home, like a lot of people listening to this, because again, not traveling until late December when we have the kid, and I got time. We're all settled. But I was watching going, this is
every time they run an ad that says they're all concerned about player safety, I want to vomit.
You still have it takes all of us in the end zones. Like, I mean, come on, this is as token, as empty and hollow as it gets.
We're playing we got freaking double Monday night games. We got games in foreign countries pretty much every week now. Like,
okay, I said happy or no. We gotta go.
I just have our go.
Pop Douglas's alias, my name Leonard, is in the Uber. You can pick one of two. What would, if you could give Drake May an Uber alias, what would it be? Or tell us what yours would be. But it can't be, Steve, John.
You got to think of something a little bit off the reservation, right? I threw out some to you the other day when we were.
All right, you know what? We're going to do this. I'm going to give you one and you give me one.
Okay.
Umberto.
I like it.
You are Umberto.
I like it. Clarence.
Oh, maybe it's just because I've been like bittersweet seeing the ads for the Springsteen movie that's coming out, and then you see someone playing Clarence, R.I.P. Clarence Thomas. That is. You know what I'll do?
Clarence Callahan. It works.
I like the alliteration. Alliteration, something to keep in mind. Which is as subtle and useless as I could have said that, but I'm not going to elaborate because it might have mean. I'm just going to stop.
Yeah.
The next time I get Chipotle, I'm going to be a Clarence. How about that? I'll put it in. I'll send you a screenshot, and there you go.
Tremendous.
Clarence. All right. We've gone a lot longer. I am so glad I did not make a promise at the start of this episode because it was a straightforward game. It was simple. The Patriots are better. Drake was excellent. It was historic. Here they go. How good are they? I don't know, is what you said. I gave an answer. But I am grateful for the time. I'm grateful for everyone hanging out. I'm grateful for our Okay, Let Me Have It segment, which has been fun. We will be back next week after the Patriots play the Browns. I'm not putting them an upset alert, but I don't know who I'm going to pick in this game. I'll put it that way.
Oh.
And it should be fun. Another week. The Patriots are 5-2. They're interesting. They're relevant. We have good film to break down. Again, if you have not yet, subscribe to the YouTube channel @_Andrew Callahan. Make it happen. You'll find everything you could ever want right there in that channel. And come back and hang out next Monday. All right.
Beautiful. See you.